Hi, my name is Moinul Zaber. Today I want to talk about AI and want to tell you that AI is not just a technical thing. It's not a technical issue. It is something that the civil society has to actually work on and make it and think about it as a socio-political issue, and so that we can actually shape it for good. Before we start this whole conversation, I want to take you back to this story, the old story of this part of the world, the Luddites, where we all probably heard of them in history. We know them as those. Some folks actually say that they went there to actually destroy the machines in the 19th century, 1812 and 1816, when they were doing this. And they were blamed for that they say that, okay, these people who had their own handlooms, they went there to actually destroy these things because they didn't want the progress to happen. Well, to be honest, that wasn't the real case. They were not opposing technological change or progress. What they wanted to actually do is they wanted to actually, they wanted to make sure that, they were not left without protection, without voice, and it was all about their livelihood. Now, think about it, now, like in 2026. I guess the same kind of questions are coming up with this, huge new technology, coming up in our lives. Artificial intelligence, as we know it, is an algorithmic process. It's an algorithmic process that actually tells you to do things from the data that it actually can get. It has no clear structure. It is only defined by the data that you actually give it. Now, with that, it gets a lot of power, and it actually can help you make decisions. Now, in that process, it can actually be biased. It can be, used for harmful causes that we all talk about all the time. However, there are good things happening with AI as well, and they're beyond our, even like 20 years back, we couldn't even think of them. So first of all, people who were hidden from our radar, we can see them now. We know, I'm saying from a positive perspective, by the way, that we know who needs what care, and we can actually go and give them those care. Second of all, we can use this technology to surpass our own capability, in a sense that we could actually go and tell people in the way they want to get them or hear them, or when they want to hear them and how they want to hear them. So all these things are happening now in all sorts of development works that is going on around the world. Now, there's this situation going on here, is that all these are happening top down. That is, engineers are building things, market is actually pushing the stuff, and it seems like everybody is in confusion, that they don't really know what they want to actually do with this technology, or whether or not it's going to give you positive or negative results. Now, so that's why there's a thing that we need to actually think about right now. Sorry. What happened? Right. Sorry. Yeah. So there's a thing that we need to actually all think about now, that we have a role to play. And that role is very much positive and proactive. So around this time, like when we are talking about AI from a development perspective, from a social science perspective, and other perspectives, we're also thinking about awareness. We are thinking about consultation. We're thinking about technological optimism. We need to actually change them into critical understanding, co-designing, and social accountability. And all these things we have done past with other aspects that we have worked on. Now, if we can actually think in this way, we can actually see that this whole design process of AI will be shifted in a few years' time with the help of the people on the ground, not people sitting in the engineering hubs. And if you don't do that, then it will actually go and backfire all the time. So if we think from a perspective of a development practitioner, or a policymaker or a person who actually is very interested in making AI beneficial for society, we need to actually think about three important things. The first thing is actually we need to change the idea of how AI now working in our universe. We have to know that it is not inevitable. Whatever is happening right now, whatever AI choices that actually we have now are not the end game. Basically, it's the start. The system that we actually have now are not really the system that will be called AI in 10 years' time. I mean, if you want an analogy, it is like probably it's Wright brothers airplane model. It's not the 787 that you actually fly right now. That's going to come, and that is going to come with or without our help, because market is pushing that. However, whether or not that 787 going to help and benefit us, it depends on us, it doesn't depend on the engineers, because they don't see it. They don't know the ways to actually go govern and write it. Now, so first of all, the problem is, the first thing is that we don't really think that it is shapeable. We need to change that, and we need to teach people that it is changeable. Second thing is, we need to get the communities involved. And we all know from our development work that if you design it for the people, it seldom works. But if you design it with the people, it always works. Knowing about AI doesn't mean that you will actually need to learn coding. Coding is not part of AI. It's part of programming. Knowing about AI means that how to shape it, what shapes it, and whose voice counts. So there is this huge epistemic injustice going on in this field. The same thing that we are having in our human society, we are just putting it in the system that we are designing. We need to stop that. And that is where civil society needs to connect technology to public purposes. Thank you.